Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4. The creation of the fourth order, chapter 27, attack by Chandravega on the city of Pranjana, and text 29. So if everybody could please repeat after me. Tvam Avyakta Katir Bhukshva Lokam Karma Nirmitam Ya Hi Me Pritana Yukta Puja Nasham Pranashyasi Tvam Avyakta Gatir Bhukshva Lokam Karma Vinirmitam Yahi Me Pritana Yukta Pujanasham Pranashyasi Tvam Avyakta Gatir Bhukshva Lokam Karma Vinirmitam Yahi Me Pritana Yukta Pujanasham Pranashyasi Tvam Avyakta Gatir Bhukshva Lokam Karma Vinirmitam Yahi Me Pritana Yukta Pujanasham Pranashyasi. Please chant.
Vamavyakta Gatir Bhukshva Lokam Karma Vinirmitam Yahi Me Pritana Yukta Pajanasham Pranashyasi
Wamavyakta gatir bhumsva.
Mamavyakta gatir bhukshva.
Lokam karma vinirmitam.
Lokam karma vinirmitam. Yahi me pritana yukta.
Jana sampranishyasi.
Dasa pranishyasi. Mamavyakta gatir bhukshva. Mamavyakta gatir bhukshva. Lokam karma vinirmitam. Lokam karma vinirmitam. Yahi me pritana yukta. Yahi me pritana yukta. Rajanasham pranishyasi. Rajanasham pranishyasi.
Vamavaktya gatir bhumsva.
Mamavyakta gatir bhukshva.
Lokam karma vinirmitam.
Lokam karma vinirmitam.
Yahi me pratana yukta.
Yahi me pritana yukta.
Rajanasham pranishyasi.
Rajanasham pranishyasi.
Anyone else like to chant? All right. Please repeat after me. From you. Avyakta gatihi, whose movement is imperceptible.
Movement is imperceptible.
Bhukshva,
Bhukshva.
enjoy.
Enjoy.
Lokam,
Lokam.
this world.
This world.
Karma vinirmitam,
Karma vinirmitam.
manufactured by fruit of activities.
Manufactured by fruit of activities.
Ya,
Ya.
one who.
One who.
He, certainly.
Certainly.
May,
May.
my.
My.
Pritana,
Pritana.
soldiers.
Soldiers.
Yukta,
Yuga.
helped by.
Helped by.
Prajanasham,
Janasham.
annihilation of the living entities.
Annihilation of the living entities.
Praneshasi,
Praneshasi.
you shall carry out without any hindrance.
You shall carry out without any hindrance.
Translation. This world is a product of fruitive activities. Therefore, you may imperceptibly attack people in general. Helped by my soldiers, you can kill them without opposition. Purport. The word karma vinirmitam means manufactured by fruitive activities. This entire material world, especially in these days, is the result of fruitive activities. Everyone is fully engaged in decorating the world with highways, motor cars, electricity, skyscrapers, industries, businesses, etc. All this appears very nice for those who are simply engaged in sense gratification and who are ignorant of spiritual identity. As described in Srimad Bhagavatam 554, Nunam pramatta kurite vikarma yadindriya pritya apnoti nasaru manye ita atmanoyam asanapi kleshada asadeya. Those without knowledge of the spirit soul are mad after materialistic activities, and they perform all kinds of sinful activities simply for sense gratification. According to Rishabhadev, such activities are inauspicious because they force one to accept an abominable body in the next life. Everyone can experience that although we try to keep the body in a comfortable position, it is always giving pain, and it is subjected to the threefold miseries. Otherwise, why are there so many hospitals, welfare boards, and insurance establishments? Actually, in this world, there's no happiness. People are simply engaged trying to counteract unhappiness. Foolish people accept unhappiness as happiness. Therefore, the king of the Yavanas decided to attack such foolish people imperceptibly by old age, disease, and ultimately death. Of course, after death, there must be birth. Therefore, Yavanaraj thought it wise to kill all the karmis through the agency of Kalakanya, and thus tried to make them aware that materialistic advancement is not actually advancement. Every living entity is a spiritual being, and consequently, without spiritual advancement, the human form of life is ruined. Omagyanatagadandasya gananjana shulakaya chakshulimalitamena tasmai shri gurave namaha mukam karivachalam pangam langayate girim yakritamaham vande shri gurundinitaranam Panchakalurvishta Kripa Sindhu Be'evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Okay, translation again. This world is a product of fruitive activities. Therefore, you may imperceptibly attack people in general. Helped by my soldiers, you can kill them without opposition. First of all, I'd like to apologize for missing Kirtaneshwar Ranga's Kirtan. I would have much rather be here in the Kirtan, but there was some unavoidable meeting that I had to attend. That's, maybe you could say, part of the curse of technology. Now you may be pressed to attend meetings that, but people all over the world are in. So, and actually, I left the meeting earlier. Anyways, Hare Krishna. So, when we look at this statement from Srila Prabhupada, he makes a very shocking statement in the purport. This isn't a statement that you would hear from motivational speakers or maybe counselors or so on. The statement is, he says, actually, in this world, there's no happiness. So they don't tell you this. This is not a very common or well popular statement that you read in self-help books and everything. They try to mask everything in a very positive light. So a number of us here, of course, we've heard this before, and a number of us here, actually all of us here, there was a particular time in this life where we heard it for the first time. Who here has been practicing Krishna consciousness for more than 50 years? Yes. 40? Yeah. 30? Any 30? More than 30? All right, more than 30? 20? All right, okay. Close to 50, okay. 10, 5, okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So we've all heard this statement or similar statements from Srila Prabhupada at one time, whether it be 50 years ago, 40, 30, 20, 5, 10, 5. We've heard it at a particular point. So does anyone remember when you first heard this, whether it was reading it from Srila Prabhupada's books or whether a devotee told you, how you felt about that or what you thought? Does anyone remember that? If you do, you could maybe, you'd like to share?
Yeah.
Okay.
I remember it very clearly. It was actually my brother was reading, it was when I was 15, so it was 10 years ago, 11 years ago. And my brother was reading the Bhagavad Gita. And he said to me, I was talking because his life was kind of in shambles at the time. And I was like, I should just do what you have to do to be happy. And he said, no, it's not going to make me happy because all the desires, all the things we do in this world are the cause of unhappiness. It's desire that makes us unhappy. And I was just so shocked by that statement. I was shocked by it, and I said, "You're crazy, man." And he said, "No, man, it's right in this book." And he told me he had a Bhagavad Gita. He said, "It's all in this book. It's really helping." And then he went to bed, and I was up late till 11 o'clock. That statement was just going in my head for at least 2 days. And after 2 days, I said, "Can I have that book? I need to read it." It shocked me because I was really thinking that actually all the things, if I wasn't desiring these things, I wouldn't be feeling this hankering, which is causing so much unhappiness.
So you thought he was crazy for saying it.
And then but then after 2 days, I got the Bhagavad Gita and I read it.
And what did you think when you read it?
I was amazed. I just thought it was the best book I ever read because it answered all the questions I ever had. And
Nice.
he gave a solution to, why is it we're unhappy?
Yeah. Anyone else remember? Yes, none today.
The outside memory videos and all that. Remember that.
Hmm.
You know what I'm talking about? You've seen that?
I'm not remembering that one, Malatis. Ramvilas?
So in a university program, like one of the seniors have said about the Kavya Mahasura, the world is full of Moses and all. For me, in the beginning, when I heard it, I felt it's kind of very depressing in saying that there is no happiness in the world and so on. Yeah, hearing and all makes sense of it.
So it was hard for you to accept because you're saying in Pune, right?
Yeah.
In Pune, when the devotees were preaching to Ramvilas, trying to convince him to be a devotee, they were quoting Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna is saying, Dukhala Mashashvatam, this world is a place of unhappiness and it's temporary. So you were thinking, wow, this is kind of depressing. That's what you were thinking. Yes.
When I first read Bhagavatam, for me, I don't know why, but nothing was talking, everything made sense.
So you accepted it immediately. Nice. Good.
Nothing was happening. Everything was like, yeah, it is true. True.
Nice. Any other?
Oh, I misspoke a little bit. There's no love.
That's funny. Yes.
I don't remember the first time I heard that there's no happiness, but I remember hearing that there's no friendship and love, and I remember thinking, well, that can't possibly be true. But then I started sort of reviewing my own life, and I thought, wait, you know what? I think that might actually be true.
Anyone else? Yep.
I got that first book. I was still in high school. It was Russia.
What high school was that?
I can Southern Illinois.
Oh, Illinois. Okay.
30 miles east.
Where? How did you get the book when you're in high school?
My brother-in-law was married to my sister. He had picked up a hitchhiker. That a lot of that was going on. But the hitchhiker was giving him a ride.
Oh wow! Wow, there you
I
go.
had been doing copy.
There you go. Amazing. So your brother-in-law picked up a hitchhiker, and the hitchhiker gave him one of Srila Prabhupada's books, and then he gave you the book. Wow, that's pretty amazing.
I remember reading that. I thought, well, there is happiness, but I did realize that it's temporary. It's living that doesn't last. And then as you get older, it never lasts. So things in. Yes, this is that. Like karma and reincarnation, I only had to do that. But there's no happiness.
Yeah.
I said, well, there's a joy, but it never lasts.
Yeah, it never lasts. It's temporary, fleeting. Yeah. Yeah, recently, forgetting, I think it was Srila Prabhupada's disciple, Shivananda. Oh, no, it was Mula Prakriti. Mula Prakriti, she was in Honolulu, and Srila Prabhupada was there at the time. And she was distributing books, and she was on her way to Japan to distribute books in Japan. So Srila Prabhupada, he, in his room, he was asking Mula Prakriti, how do you like distributing my books? And then Mula Prakriti was saying, oh, I love it, Srila Prabhupada. And Srila Prabhupada, he was asking Mula Prakriti, what type of people are taking my books? And then Mula Prakriti was saying, well, there's students, there's professionals, there's diplomats, and then Srila Prabhupada said, oh, really, what diplomats from which country? And she started naming different countries. And one of the countries she named was Albania. And at that time, Albania was behind the Iron Curtain. So Srila Prabhupada, Mula Prakriti explained to Srila Prabhupada how because these diplomats, very important persons in the government, when they go back to Albania, the security people, they don't check their bags. They just let them go through. So in this way, Srila Prabhupada's books were going to Albania. And then Srila Prabhupada made a comment. He said, we cannot go, but Lord Chaitanya, he could go. So yeah, it's amazing where the books go. It really is. So anyone else like to? Yes.
The second was, we were growing up in a Hindu society, so whatever concept I had about God, Prabhupada, every word was smashing the idea. Making it very clear.
Because you grew up in like a polytheistic, like Hindu conception, many gods.
We had like all kind of diverse idea about who God is. Normally people think Vishnu is the origin of the Krishna, and that was like.
But Prabhupada made it clear. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Nice. Any other one like to share? What about you?
I was working at a call center. There was a movie there.
I know him.
And we were like, it was training, so it was like kind of a classroom environment. And we would just go to the whiteboard and just write the long mantras, giant words all over the board. And I thought it was weird. Like when I first heard it, I didn't know. It just sounded so foreign to me that I didn't know.
Yeah. Well, it seemed to work.
Yeah.
Right? He helped you out, right? So do you remember hearing like statements where Srila Prabhupada would say, oh, there's no happiness, or devotees would tell you that, and how you felt after hearing that?
Yeah, I thought it was true.
All right. Nice. Yeah, so yeah, we hear this statement here. Actually, in this world, there's no happiness. People are simply engaged in trying to counteract unhappiness. So we hear that in the Bhagavad Gita. Krishna says, "Dukkhalam ashashvatam." It is a it is a place full of misery. This world. Personally, I wasn't fully convinced when I heard that. I remember I was having a conversation with some brahmacharis there, and I was saying, yeah, but I mean, there's so many nice things in life, and this and that, but yeah, I became convinced of that. But Krishna says that it is a place full of miseries, and even if someone wants to say that it is not, still it is temporary. Even if someone wants to say, oh, well, everything's perfect, everything's great, but then it's temporary. So that produces a type of suffering. Even if someone has a perfect life, there's some suffering in that is temporary. So yeah, we can't get around this point. And Srila Prabhupada would make this point quite often, that it's a place of suffering. Now, still, you have one of our acharyas, Prabodhananda Saraswati. He is the uncle of Gopal Bhatta Goswami. When Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came, when he did his travels to South India, he he stayed at the house of Gopal Bhatta as a young boy. His father was, I think, Venkata, right? Yeah. Venkata Bhatta, so many Bhattas. And his whole family became devotees, Gaudiya Vaishnavas specifically. They're already devotees, but they became Gaudiya Vaishnavas. And the uncle also became a great devotee, became Prabodhananda Saraswati. And he wrote many wonderful books glorifying Lord Chaitanya. So in one of those particular books, in those verses, he's describing the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. And he's saying that for one who achieves the sidelong glance of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, there's certain results that come. One is the dangerous senses, because the senses are very dangerous in the material world. Srila Prabhupada gives the example that in certain species of life, certain senses are dangerous. So, for example, for a fish, go out to the ocean, and any ocean you go to throughout the whole entire world, you'll see fishermen or fisherwomen out there throwing their line out, right? And so many fish they're there in the ocean, and they see this tasty, what we call bait there, and they get captured by that. So the tongue, that's their downfall. He gives the example of a deer. So a deer in the forest, and the hunter plays some rudimentary flute. So, and the deer's attracted to that. Oh, very beautiful sound. And then the deer pauses. And in this way, the hunter's able to shoot the deer, kill the deer. Also, examples given of a elephant, how to capture a male elephant. What you do is you dig a huge hole, a huge ditch, and then there's a male elephant on one side, and on the other side there's a female elephant. Now, I'm not exactly sure what the elephant finds attractive. The male elephant finds attractive, and the female elephant, I don't know, certain bangles or whatever, eyelashes, something, but somehow or other he's attracted, and then rushes towards the female elephant, and then he drops into the hole, ditch. And that's how he's captured. So in this way, you can go through the different senses, and different species of life have their downfall, their issues. But in the human form, all the senses can be very problematic. But for one who gets a sidelong glance of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, those venomous senses, those dangerous senses, become pacified. That's one result. Another result is that the heavenly planets and the enjoyment there, which is no small thing actually. Some people are very much attracted to bar life and bar families and alcohol and so on, but they know nothing about Somaras, how enjoyable that is. Makes the enjoyment of this world look very pale, stale. But those enjoyments, for one who gets a sidelong glance of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, those are said to be like sky flowers. There's no flowers in the sky. Or sometimes it's said like horse eggs. Horses also don't produce eggs. So in other words, they're able to reject it very easily. So you have the senses, you have this sky flowers. Anyone remember the other ones?
Flowers in the sky.
Yes. Liberation, yes. And personal liberation is considered to be hellish. For one who has the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, and also Vishwam Purna Sukhayate. For one who gets the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, the whole universe is full of happiness. That's what he says. It's very interesting. As Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, it's a place full of suffering. And Prabhupada Saraswati saying, oh, if you get the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, it's full of happiness. And what is that happiness? The happiness is opportunities to serve. When you talk in Hawaii, you have to be careful. You say opportunities to serve means, go out in the ocean or something, but opportunities to serve. So this is the happiness of a devotee, and there are unlimited opportunities to serve. For example, here we have a nice restaurant here in Tucson. It's unlimited service. It just keeps on going on and on and on. There's so many people who come, and they're going to keep on coming, and more people are going to come. And that's an opportunity to distribute so much prasadam to people, which is very helpful in making people devotees. I mean, it's there's so many stories like that, people becoming devotees through prasadam. Or what about book distribution? Every year you have a whole new class of students coming up into going to college, right? It's like thousands of students every year, just new students. So it's unlimited. Or what about Harinam? You could just keep on going. Or cleaning, so many things to clean, right? So in this way, Srila Prabhupada has very mercifully given us a lot of service to do. And when we talk about getting the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, how are we to get the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Srila Prabhupada one time said in Los Angeles, he said that for those who want the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they have to get the mercy of Nityananda Prabhu, or Avadut Chandra, Nitai. They have to get the mercy of Nityananda Prabhu. And how do you get the, let me back up there. For those who want to approach Radha Krishna, which is the goal of Krishna consciousness, Srila Prabhupada said a number of times, approach them for service. We have to get the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In order to get the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we have to get the mercy of Lord Nityananda. And in order to get the mercy of Lord Nityananda, we have to approach people like Jagai and Madai. That's Nityananda Prabhu's mission, to deliver those who are like Jagai and Madai. And as explained in that pastime where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was actually going to kill Jagai and Madai, Nityananda Prabhu stopped him and he said, if you kill these two brothers, you have to kill everyone. You have to kill more or less everyone in Kali Yuga, because everyone is more or less like these brothers. So in other words, there's unlimited opportunities to help those people who have forgotten Krishna. So that's how we get the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That's a very important factor. And it doesn't necessarily mean direct. There's so many indirect ways we could help, but direct or indirect, that's the idea. And by doing this, we will not be cheated like the personalities being described in this verse and in this chapter. People just bewildered by the so-called promises of material happiness in this world. Nunam pramata kurite vikarma. Rishabhadev says these people are mad. It doesn't mean that devotees can't live a comfortable, pleasant life. Devotees do live a very comfortable, pleasant life. In my experience, I've seen around the world, devotees are living very comfortably and pleasant lives. But it means that they're not wasting in their life, or they're not ruining their lives just simply going after material stuff in a mad way. Because as Rishabhadeva says, he says, by doing that, it's very dangerous. Nunam pramata kurite vikarma yadindi priti apranoti. He says, nasadu. Nasadu means, I don't think it's a very good idea. And this is Rishabhadeva. I mean, we should take his idea very seriously because he's the personality of Godhead. He says, I don't think it's a very good idea just simply to chase after the objects of the senses and forget about Krishna. That's a very bad idea because it gives a bad result, life after life. And as Srila Prabhupada says, foolish people accept unhappiness as happiness. Therefore, the king of the Yavanas decided to attack such foolish people imperceptibly by old age, disease, and ultimately death. So it's very old age, getting older, it's imperceptible. It's like time moving and the effects of time. They said it's compared to like a cloud. You could hardly see it moving. It's just, before you know it, you have your body's old. You lost a lot of energy in the body and so on. So as followers of Srila Prabhupada, as practitioners of Krishna consciousness, we want to be very careful to utilize our time properly. And again, the best way to utilize our time is by ourselves becoming Krishna conscious and trying to help others as far as possible. And by doing this, we will have a very clear realization that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and I am his servant, and my real business is to serve him and serve his devotees and try to bring people to Krishna consciousness, and this is my real happiness. And this is the happiness of the soul, the happiness of myself, my real self. And again, we will see this world as Vishram Purna Sukhayate. It is full of happiness for a devotee. For a non-devotee, it's not full of happiness, but for a devotee, it's full of happiness in Krishna consciousness. So, okay, does anybody have any question or comment? Yes.
Sometimes I've heard people say, oh, that we're too negative, right? They say that a lot.
Yeah.
We're too negative. Oh, there's so many, beautiful things in the world and this, that, and the other. And I guess my question is, how do we sort of strike that balance of not alienating certain segments of the population, if they think we're too negative?
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes it's true. People think we're too negative, and sometimes we may wonder, I mean, is it negative or is it just realistic? If somebody wants to live in a hallucination or a fairy tale, last night, article written by a person, which that talk was based on, how Walt Disney ruined our love lives, the myth of happily ever after. Doesn't mean that you cannot be happy in this world. If it means you have to be Krishna conscious, you have to be God conscious. But you can see how media and the movie industry and Disney and all these types of things, they've really given people an interesting worldview that everything's just supposed to be positive, no problems, but there are obstacles. So it is realistic, I would say. And if you analyze devotees and how they live and how happy they are, then okay, we may be saying, yes, there's no happiness in the material world, and we're very pessimistic about material life, but we're very optimistic about spiritual life, and devotees are very happy. And aside from that, if one advances in Krishna consciousness, they can see Krishna in everything. Doesn't mean that, of course, that could be really misinterpreted. Oh, they see Krishna in everything, so I see Krishna in this beer or something. But they see Krishna in everything that they're going through their life, and they see Krishna in everything. Just like Srila Prabhupada said one time, he said, oh, you think you're sitting on the floor, I'm sitting in the hand of Krishna. So there's an example of when Srila Prabhupada was in San Francisco. He was walking, and it was a very just kind of rough night going on, a bunch of unclean hippies, definitely not Suchi, bunch of, the smell of alcohol and marijuana, and just really kind of rough scene. And then Mukunda, he was feeling discouraged or a bit embarrassed, or that he had to take Srila Prabhupada through this scene. And then he told Srila Prabhupada, he said, it's a beautiful night, right, Swami? Trying to kind of. And then Srila Prabhupada said, yes, it is a very beautiful night. And Mukunda was realizing that it's not that Srila Prabhupada was seeing these people as a bunch of fallen people and really gross atmosphere, but Srila Prabhupada was just seeing Krishna everywhere, and he was seeing how these are Krishna's lost children. And he was seeing, in that way, the beauty behind it. So it's not that devotees see like that. So it's a very wonderful worldview. You could say, oh, Krishna says, I am the light of the sun. So this way you're remembering Krishna. Or I'm the taste of water, the sound and ether of purifiers, I am the wind. So it's a very wonderful way to see things.
Yeah, thank you.
So I think, Any other? Yes.
Thank you, Prabhu. Nice class. So you mentioned that, like the devotee realizes in his advancing Krishna consciousness, he realizes that my real happiness is serving Krishna, and my real happiness is, to bring people to Krishna consciousness. And I think anybody who starts doing that and engages in that, they can experience that, that this is my real happiness. And I feel, genuine happiness when I do this. Yet still, sometimes we find ourselves under attack by Maya, or we find ourselves being tempted, or we find ourselves being lured toward Maya. And, how do we assure that we don't walk that path or go into Maya? And remain,
quote, united we stand, divided we fall. So it's tough because in America, I don't want to overgeneralize, but every place there could be seen to be some things that aren't so conducive for Krishna consciousness. But generally, Americans are seen to be individualistic, so kind of like to be on their own type of thing. But Srila Prabhupada would quote, united we stand, divided we fall. So if there's too much division, if we're too much alone, then it's not good. But if we're united, if we're together, if we're serving together, we're all moving in the right direction, Krishna conscious together, as a team, as a group, moving, then this is very helpful. It keeps us strong on that association, that sadhu sangha. And in terms of Maya attacking, that's her job. we can't fault her for doing her job. Why is Maya attacking? That's her job. That's what she's supposed to do. That's what Krishna asked her to do. So you can't say why, and why is that? That's what she does. She does it well. But it's our business to fight Maya, or to not surrender to Maya, and to know very carefully, very precisely what are the tricks that Maya has up her sleeves. Because it is possible to know. It's described in scripture. It's very possible to know. And it's necessary, actually. What are the tricks of Maya? And then, by our spiritual practices, chanting, reading, so on, our intelligence, spiritual intelligence becomes, it strengthens, and then we're able to see that, oh, this is Maya. This is illusion knocking on the door. So yeah, we have to be able to see. And that's called Shastra Chakshi. That's very important to know what we're dealing with. But it's a good fight. And sometimes they have a saying, like if someone's in war together, they're like war buddies. So in other words, they all went to war together. War buddies. You know, they're Maya. So we shouldn't become discouraged that, oh, why is Maya attacking? That's what she does. And she does it well. But we should take Krishna's words seriously in the Bhagavad Gita, where he says, Daivihesha gunamaya mamaya dhratya mameve prapadyante mayamitam tarantate. He says this divine energy of mind consistent of the three modes of material nature is very difficult to overcome. But those who surrendered unto me can easily cross beyond it. And in this age, Kali, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came, and he is giving us the holy name, Krishna, Nam Avatar. So it really means to surrender to, especially surrender to the holy name. Japa, Kirtan, Strana, that's how our main strength, the holy name. But as of now, they have not created a pill that you could just pop and say, okay, I'm Maya free now. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given us the medicine by which gradually we become free from Maya. Generally, it's a gradual process. We become free from Maya, and we're able to, just not be bothered so much. So, yes.
Prabhupada also said, don't be surprised who leaves, be surprised who stays.
Yes.
So it's not that we should be expecting people to leave, or if someone says, I'm having a hard time, we say, well, I was waiting for that.
Yes.
But it just shows that it's a serious commitment and struggle, because Maya is always there. You know, it says until we become totally pure, Maya will be testing us. So that's why we always have to be on guard. And Prabhupada also said the problem with you Westerners is you're not afraid of Maya enough. So we see that with devotees, like flirting with Maya in a sense of, whatever it is, not being regulated or hanging out with non-devotees too much or engaged in frivolous activities, whatever it may be. So we have to remember to, like the tortoise, pulling the senses within the tortoise, the shell, the shell, but, the arms and the legs, we have to pull the senses in by the mind and control that. Otherwise, then we're adrift, and it becomes more difficult to continue.
Thank you. Yeah, we shouldn't be surprised who goes. We should be surprised who stays, as Srila Prabhupada said. So, it's the most serious thing, actually. It's the most serious commitment, most serious thing we could do in our life. So we shouldn't expect it to be easy. But it's very nice when there's devotees who keep on pushing. It's very wonderful to see everybody keep on pushing. Yes. I need you to encourage me.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, thank you so much. I was still thinking about how Maya works. The principle is attraction. When we have attraction to this material world, then Maya comes in the picture. So in order to cut that attraction, we need to be attracted to something else.
Yes.
We have to divert our attraction from one to another. So Krishna, all attractive personality. But even though he is all attractive, but we are not attracted to Krishna because we are more attracted to this material world, and Maya is playing with us.
Yes.
Life after life. So in order to cut that knot, constant hearing and chanting is the only medicine.
Yes.
That's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, it is the medicine, but I have no desire for it. I am not yet attracted to it. So we need to divert our work on our central point of attraction from this world to Krishna.
Yes.
Thank you.
And also in sadhu sangha, associating with devotees while engaging in these processes, that really makes things strong, makes us strong. Yes. Get the higher taste.
But you said that is a very interesting way you phrased it, that, we read the scripture, of course we have our intelligence, and that's definitely understood by chanting properly and hearing properly, reading it an hour a day, chanting. But you were speaking about you can know Maya's tricks. Can you give an example of that so we can kind of play with that idea? I like that as a nice concept.
In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, which is a wonderful book, please read Chaitanya Charitamrita, please read Chaitanya Charitamrita, please read Chaitanya Charitamrita. Wonderful pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and just really, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said it, Srila Prabhupada said about his guru that it was his favorite book, and he would read it in his leisure time, in his later life. So it's a wonderful book. And anyway, so in the Gundicha, cleansing of the Gundicha temple, Lord Chaitanya and his associates with so many water pots and brooms and everything, they're cleaning the temple, immaculately cleaning the temple, making it immaculate. And the straws and the dust and all of these different things, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur explains that this represents the anarthas within the heart, the dust within the heart, or the dirt within the heart. So sometimes this manifests in tricks of Maya, really. For example, the example is given that sometimes a devotee may think that, yes, I'll make lots of money, and then I will take that money, I will serve Krishna. But sometimes what they do is they just make lots of money, and then they forget about Krishna. So in this way, there's some inner voice was saying, yeah, make lots of money, and then serve Krishna. But then they make lots of money, then they forget about Krishna. So it's not the voice of Krishna, it's the voice of Maya. That's an example. Or maybe justification of things that okay, well, I generally follow the principle of no intoxication, but I'm at a family reunion, or I'm at here, I'm there, and I want them to understand me and to accept me and to accept Krishna consciousness. So, I drink I take a few drinks. But we would also say is a trick of Maya. There's no need to do that. It's important to stand by one's principles, no matter what. So in this way, there could be all types of things going on like that. And there's so many examples. So, all right. Yes. Suresh.
In that regard, Prahlada Maharaj tells a story how he wrote Prabhupada when he was a new devotee. I think it was 69 from Buffalo or something, and he said, Prabhupada, how do I know if I'm choosing Krishna or Maya? Similar to what you said. And Prabhupada wrote back and said, rest assured you will always choose Maya. That's why you need a spiritual master.
Oh, very interesting, yes. Again, the sadhu sangha or the guru principle that it's so important. It's so important just to check and to double check and to triple check and not have faith in one's mind. That's what this is mentioned in the 5th canto. One who has faith in their mind, it's a real bad situation. So, especially conditioned mind. So to check and to triple check and is very important that whatever idea we have and we're not sure about and it's unclear, even if it is clear to us, we can check and we say, I'm thinking this is Krishna conscious. Do you think this is Krishna conscious? And sometimes the guru, the shiksha guru, the diksha guru, the sadhus, they'll say, we appreciate your sincerity, but it's not a good idea. So anyways, we can stop there. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. The